2 to start the season. Mullen in white, Callahan in black, and we are underway. It'll be Hopkins that starts with the ball. So we mentioned Melendez is missing, Hopkins leading goal scorer. How does that shake things up for the Blue Jays offense?
Gives Charlie Eiler, 29 in black, an opportunity, and he was terrific last week against Virginia when Melendez went out in that first half. He's got some shake, he's very two-handed, and I think he could take defenders to the rack.
First line midfield of Matt Collison, Brooks English, and Dylan Bauer full the Blue Jays. Here's Bauer with it. Of course, Brooks English going against his older brother, Sam English, who we just highlighted in the Syracuse midfield. And here's Chauvet. Patience, the bouncer rings off the pipe. Jimmy McCool might have gotten a piece of it. And Syracuse delivers defensively to start the rivalry matchup.
He likes to let it go. Watch 35 in white.
Dwan spins in, shovels it to a goal. Joey Spallina opens the scoring, defense to offense to get it started for the Orange.
This is a big stop by Jimmy McCool. A lot of deception in the release by Hunter Chauvet. The high bouncer, McCool stands his ground, and Billy Dwan Jr. in transition is so lethal. A close defender. You see that shovel pass to Joey Spallina. A lot of times you see long stick midfielders flushing out and starting the offense for teams. It's a close defender in Billy Dwan that does it so frequently from defense to offense. He trails the play, and he's always a threat in transition.
Spallina, 14 goals on the season, and opens the scoring. Syracuse has had outstanding starts to games. 6 games in, they average more than 6 goals per first quarter. And Johns Hopkins looking to weather that storm. Callahan won the clamp, but Syracuse wins it back.
That's a big possession for Syracuse because Johnny Mullins, when he had the infraction, when he jumped early on that first one, cannot take the next face-off. Hopkins wins the clamp, but does not win the possession.
And even though Syracuse scored the goal, that was in transition, so this is the first settled offensive possession for the Orange. Working without Finn Thompson. And another goal, Michael Leo! Falling down, somehow generated enough power to find the back of the net.
Set it in the open. He's slick. He's smooth. His ability to get underneath defenders here. Leo, a lefty. A lot of times he's on the opposite side. He's dodging to the middle of the field. They close the gate on him knowing that he wants the middle of the field. And that rollback was timed beautifully because it keeps the integrity of his angle.
2 goals in just 41 seconds. Just talked about Syracuse's strong starts. They've got another one here at the Dome. Awesome atmosphere in what is one of, if not the greatest rivalry in the sport. And for Johns Hopkins, it's hard to pick. This is their 4th straight rivalry game. When you take a look at their schedule, Kark, it feels like every week is rivalry week.
It is unequivocally the best schedule in college lacrosse, year in and year out, and I don't think it's close.
You take a look at their matchups. Loyola, Battle of Charles Street. North Carolina, the Petramala rivalry. Virginia, you're playing for a trophy, and now here at the Dome. That doesn't even include Maryland at the end of April. The Blue Jays trying to answer here. Here's Stuart Phillips. Can't shake free. Blue Jays have the backup.
There's a look at Billy Dwan. Right now, defending Charlie Eiler. I wouldn't be surprised if they put Dwan up as a long stick midfielder to defend Matt Collison as well in this game. He did a little bit of that in that neutral site game in Charlotte a year ago because of the size, both about 6'3", 6'4".
Here's Chavette. Shot clock down to 10. Crossfield pass, risky, no angle, and a flag flies. And we get our first penalty of the game.
Looks like it's going to be on Billy Dwan, 35 in white.
How's on white, 3-5, cross check, 1 minute. 35 in the white, cross check, 1, reset to 60, please.
Phillips with the shot. Yeah, Dwan's hands are separated right there. The ref's going to call that 9 times out of 10. You have the thrust there, Jay, and then the hands separated with that cross check. That's the right call.
So the Blue Jays go man up for the first time in this opening quarter. Looking to ignite this offense. It's gotten off to a slow start without their leading goal scorer, Russell Melendez, in the lineup.
I like this unit, though. Checking in at 50% on the season. They have outside shooters and Chavette.
The defensive coordinator for Syracuse, John O'Derna, prides himself on his man-down defense. Good early test here. Can Hopkins find the back of the net for the first time? Inside, good save, Jimmy McCool. Battle for the ground ball. Syracuse digs it out.
It's a big stop for Syracuse on the man down with Dwan, who's part of that unit, not on the field. Hopkins puts a lot of pressure on you on the extra man with the 2 big lefties in Collison and Chavette. They're always finding a 2-on-1.
So Syracuse earns the power play kill. Back to even strength here. It has been a strong start for the Orange. And standing in goal for Johns Hopkins, Luke Stout. Homecoming for him, grew up in the Syracuse area in Camillus, went to West Genesee High School, about a 10-minute drive from the Dome. Here's Owen Hiltz. Goes in, ricochet.
If you're Hopkins, you have to be careful not to slide too early. If you slide too early, you're going to initiate and create offense on a team that loves to move the ball. The 6 players, when they're all touching it, is when Syracuse plays at another level. It's not the biggest dodging threat of a team.
Back to Hiltz, trying to get those hands free. Dumps it off. Shot clock ticks under 10. The shot clock reset. Peter Milliman shouting that this should be a shot clock violation because nobody had clear possession. And Syracuse actually gets the ball back with Trey Deer.
Did Hopkins possess the ball? If they did, then when Syracuse gets it back, it's a reset. Milliman feeling like the shot clock expired.
He's still giving it to the officials. And Owen Hiltz buries it low. What a start for Syracuse, 3-0 Orange.
Peter Milliman knows you cannot give this Syracuse offense multiple reps at a tired defense that he feels did their job, made the stop, got the shot clock to 0.
So let's see this together. Take another look. We're watching this for the first time with you. Shot clock, you see it at 5 seconds there. Does Hopkins possess the ball? Right there. I would say they did.
It's tough to see if 18 in black did possess the ball. It looked like he did for a fraction of a second. And then here's the goal. If you slide early to Syracuse, they find the open man. And you cannot let 77 in white sit on the porch on that high lefty wing and let it rip.
Hiltz places it perfectly.
Both of these teams, Jay, the ball movement is at its best in college lacrosse. This is offensive awareness. The ball's like hot potato for both of these teams. There's so much skill on the field here today in the Dome.
So Johns Hopkins has won all 4 faceoffs against John Mullen, who's at 66% on the season, and yet the Blue Jays trail by 3.
As well as Syracuse moves the ball. That last time that Hopkins was down here on the offensive set, before that shot and that penalty with Dwan, 17 passes before the shot. The ball moves at hyperspeed.
How do you defend that?
You have to pack it in and trust your goalie. And Jimmy McCool say, we're going to surrender the outside shots. We have to pack it in and make sure we're covering the paint, the inside portion. Here's that matchup I was talking about. Dwan, a close defender, now bumps up against Collison, their biggest dodging threat. First team All-American type talent, 16 in black.
Shot clock ticks under 22 seconds. On the run, McCool! Jimmy McCool locked in for Syracuse in cage.
You can tell by a goalie's body language if they're seeing the ball early. Jimmy McCool right now is seeing the ball early. He had the one blimp this season against Harvard, the only game that he was under 50%. He got shelled early in that game. Michael Ippolito came in relief. Other than that, McCool has been steady. I thought his best game of the year was the loss against Maryland. He was terrific in that outing down in College Park.
Bauer curls around. Didn't get a clean look at it. Blue Jays have the backup again with Charlie Eiler, who's starting at attack in place of Russell Melendez.
He's got the feet. He's very two-handed and a creative player, 29.
Spins through the double team, goes to goal and scores! Right on cue, Charlie Eiler delivers exactly what Hopkins had been craving in this opening quarter.
Your leading scorer and Russell Melendez is on the bench. He's nicked up and injured. You gotta go to the bullpen. Who's gonna step up and make moves? More two-handed. When you watch Eiler and you go back to his high school film, the best compliment I could have for him is, what hand is he?
Well, Hopkins has dominated possession. They've won every face-off in this game, but they trail 3-1. Plenty of shots, 7 of them, but that one from Eiler, the first that found the back of the net. And Callahan continues to dominate at the face-off X.
He's going to get a penalty right now, too, where the Jays will go extra man.
Free possession.
As much as McCool's been hot for Syracuse, Callahan's been hot, and he's been the answer in terms of getting possessions. We got another flag. That's 2.
And 2 down right now. But a big opportunity for Johns Hopkins to steal the momentum. It was all orange, a 3-0 lead for Syracuse to start. Eiler playing with confidence. Passes off. This is Jimmy Ayers, the sophomore second-line midfielder. What a goal! Hunter Chauvet unleashes a flamethrower. And Hopkins 2 in a row.
You have to love the shooting stroke of Chauvet. Comes from so many different angles and the release points.
There's 2 fouls on White versus 22. Unnecessary, 1 minute. Second foul on White was a hole, which is wiped out by the good goal. 1 minute after 1 minute.
So the technical foul, the second penalty, wiped out, the 32nd one. The unnecessary roughness on Spallina will hold. Extra man opportunity coming up for the Jays if they could get this possession at the face-off X. But Chauvet, when you give him time, or I'm sorry, Chuck Rawson, 51 and 91. You know, it's interesting, I was talking to one of the coaches prior to the game, watching 51 and 91, stylistically too. Same high school, played at Lawrenceville for John Posner, both lefties. Both play like Canadians. One is a Canadian, Chuck Rawson. Hunter Chauvet is the most Canadian-American player I've ever seen in my life.
Rawson must be mimicking Chauvet's shooting stroke because Chauvet's got that unique delivery, and that looked exactly like it.
Very similar. Similar builds. One wears 51, one wears 91. Two-hand lefty cradle wing guys.
Ultimate compliment for Chuck Rawson there. 2 goals in 55 seconds for Johns Hopkins, and they are still on a man up here with a chance to equalize.
Rawson's inside, Chavette's on the wing.
Good ball movement, patient. Man up down to 10 seconds. Who's going to pull the trigger for the Blue Jays? Collison steps into one and scores! Matt Collison ties it at 3. And the Blue Jays cash in on the extra man.
We talk about the ball moving at hyper speed. 21 passes before that rip by Matt Collison. It's patience. It's understanding late in a penalty. It's okay to let that offense percolate, keep the ball moving, get that defense that's down a man guessing. And that's a problem for Syracuse, because when Collison is stretching the defense from deep, if you want to send a show from that left side, you're dealing with Hunter Chavette right next to him. So it's pick your poison. Now Collison establishes himself. The next extra man, don't be surprised if Chavette gets more room.
Callahan continuing to cause Syracuse problems. The Blue Jays win another faceoff. They've won every single one of them to start this game. And this is going against John Mullen, who wins 2 out of every 3 faceoffs this season, 66%.
Mullen, yeah. He's never been under 50% in a game. Every single game he's been 50% or better. And right now he's struggling.
And Syracuse's strong start has been wiped out in less than 2 minutes. 3 Johns Hopkins goals in under a 2-minute span, and a chance to take their first lead of the afternoon. Bauer, well defended by Dwan. And now Brooks English, dangerous feeder. 12 assists to his name on the season.
He's one of the best passing midfielders in the country. A lot of patience to his game. He sees the field. Third brother of the English is to play Division I lacrosse. Sam on the field today for the Orange. Ty for Carolina.
Chavette blows it by McCool. And Hunter Chavette has delivered the Blue Jays their first lead of the afternoon, make it 4 in a row for Johns Hopkins.
When I watched Chavette last year, he loved to let it rip from that wing, a lot like Mac O'Keefe from the Utah Archers in the PLL. Now I'm seeing his game evolve as a Dodger. You see him just kind of the in and out, the changes of speed, and then when he rolls, he's shot ready. If you're Carter Rice, you have to get in his hand. You have to force him to go underneath. If Hunter Chavette gets topside with his hands free, good night.
And Jimmy McCool, who was dialed in to begin, stopped the first 4 shots on goal he faced, is now allowed 4 in a row. Syracuse wins its first face-off of the game. And they're going to need John Mullen to do what he does best.
You'll get an opportunity to see Mullen make adjustments. What's Callahan doing early in this matchup? Where Mullen will go to the videotape, will look at the iPad, will make some adjustments.
Syracuse has gone a long stretch without the ball. Hiltz a flamethrower, high heat on that one.
This is the big marquee matchup on this side of the field. Spallina 22 in white against Scott Smith, an All-American defender who's the engine, the heartbeat of this Hopkins defense.
Leo curls around, tried to dump it. Stout didn't find it, back to Leo. Now here's Spallina.
They're gonna go quick here to support this matchup.
Spallina lost it, dispossessed. Patrick Hackler, the transfer from Yale, great defense there.
Hackler is a big-time player. A midfielder who was the sole captain for Yale a season ago, and Andy Shea, using that 5th year of eligibility due to COVID in the Ivy League at Johns Hopkins, and having him and Jack Monfort, both from Yale, putting them in this defense for coordinator Jamison Kester has been a gift, because they lost their 4 shorties from a season ago. That was a question for Johns Hopkins. But you bring in the experience of a Hackler who just took the ball from Spallina, and a Monfort, you're in good shape.
And Hackler, Skinny Atlas native, a half hour from here is Hiltz, ties it at 4. Owen Hiltz, lightning quick release. And the Orange equalize in this opening quarter.
You're spot on, Jay, because it looks like Hiltz is going to hold the ball and carry it a little bit. And in that mid-stride, just snaps the ball with a wicked release. Boom, right to the bottom corner. Gets Stout totally out of position. Looks like Stout did not have his feet set, wasn't in a good spot, almost lunging to the bottom corner. It's a big spot for Stout, a local boy from West Genesee, Camillus, New York, about 10 minutes from the Dome. Spent 4 years at Loyola. Now he's here for his 5th year, playing against one of the best offensive skilled teams in the nation.
If you're a goalie, Hiltz's torso's facing away from the goal, so you're thinking, no way he's going to shoot it, and bam, it's in the back of the net. Mullen forcing it there. Trey Deer settles it down for the Orange.
And that's one knock on Johnny Mullen. And he is a good offensive player. He can shoot the ball, but you're struggling in the matchup. You get a clean face-off win. Get it to the attack right there. He got lucky that the ball bounced and Trey Deer scooped it up.
Swim dodge to no avail. Stout out of his cage, but it stays with Syracuse because of a hold. When you think of the face-off disparity and how quickly Syracuse has scored on their possessions that they have had, Johns Hopkins has dominated the time of possession, and yet it's all tied at 4 as we tick to about 2.5 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Here's Michael Leo, already a goal to his name today. Luke Roa, good save, Luke Stout, but Syracuse will get it back on the man up. It was Roa who absorbed the hit to the helmet there. Eric McDonald laying the lumber, and everybody had a flag out on that one.
Relax! Stop! Foul's on. White 13, or black 13, I'm sorry. Illegal body check, 1 minute, full time, we're gonna review it.
And they're gonna review this penalty.
Right now it's 1 minute. They can enhance that penalty. Bump up to 2 or 3 minutes. You got the indirect hit to the head, direct. And if it's egregious, it could go all the way to 3.
And you see it's Luke Martin who lowers his shoulder, even though it was McDonald in coverage. What do you think, Paul?
You know, that's a tough call, because look how low Roa gets towards the end of that dodge. I don't think there was any malicious intent by Martin. He gets low. If Roa stays his ground and stays at the same body level, that's a hit to the chest.
He does lead with the elbow, though.
Black will be 2 minutes, direct contact to the head, full time.
There's the direct, as I mentioned. Indirect, direct, and egregious. Direct will get you the 2 minutes. The refs have at their discretion any time in the game they could go to the video to review a hit to the head. So a 1 minute can turn to a 2 minute, and in this case, that's what happens.
And it's unreleasable, so Syracuse man up for 2 minutes here at the end of the first quarter. They have been super efficient at even strength. Let's see how they look man up for the first time today. Bouncer was just wide.
And no Finn Thompson, who was on the extra man, and Jackson Birtwistle, who was injured a few games ago, was on this extra man. So 2 new players. Luke Roa, who's just injured, he's on the field. And Greg Elijah Brown fills in for Birtwistle.
Deere lost the handle. Battle for the ground ball, won by Hopkins. Syracuse desperate to get this ball back, and another flag comes out. And this is what this rivalry is all about. We've had a very physical start to this matchup. And they're not letting it go.
Fouls on white 7 with a slash. 1 minute. White 7 slash.
That's
1 minute.
not the time to get a penalty if you're Michael Leo, because you're sitting with a 2-minute unreleasable. So if you score, you go to the face-off, and Johnny Mullins gets you another possession, you can get a few goals off of that. With that slash, now you're even, and you're playing 5-on-5 ball.
You played in this rivalry. You know that there's an intensity to it that sometimes you just can't help yourself.
It's North versus South. It's the 2 winningest programs in college lacrosse history, right? A lot of people like to say it's got that Yankees and Red Sox feel, right? Of the animosity and the tension. But now Hopkins is going to hold the ball. And they're going to milk the clock. And if they do decide to go to the goal, it's a lot easier to score 5-on-5 than it is 6-on-6. So the big advantage that was Syracuse's now gets evaporated.
Home fans don't like it, booing that Hopkins is sitting on the ball. You never sit on the ball in this rivalry, though. It's back and forth. Come on.
You got to sit on the ball here. If you have a lacrosse brain, because you know that unreleasable is big.
And the shot clock actually lines up perfectly with the extra man unreleasable, so they can kill this, get it back to even strength. And when you consider Johns Hopkins fell down 3-0 in this game early, they have done well to battle back in the last 7 minutes here. Spinning free. Phillips met with resistance. Still time here at the end of the quarter for Syracuse.
I think Hopkins waited too long, too deep into the shot clock, and I would have liked to have seen a Matt Collison with the ball or a Hunter Chavette. There's no Russell Melendez. Where are your playmakers? Offensively, Brooks English can feed the ball. He can initiate offense.
Michael Leo, no time left. And a whistle sends the ball back to Hopkins to finish this first quarter. When you fall in love with the sport in the 90s, it's because of a matchup like this.
But I just look back, I was in 8th grade watching that game down in College Park in 1989 in the championship. It was just the best in terms of the storylines, the styles clashing, the defense versus the offense, and the flamboyant type of stick skills of the Gates brought the game to another level against the greatest defender of all time, Dave Petramala, or Quint Kesnick in goals. Just, it was strength on strength, and as a kid, you couldn't ask for more.
Here's Matt Collison. On the run, just misfires.
And that's where he's dangerous, even when you're playing good defense. And Billy Dwan, I mentioned his dad was a Hopkins great. He's playing good defense there, but Collison can get a shot off on anything because of his size and his power.
You talk about this rivalry, this matchup, and in recent years, the teams have mirrored each other because of the rebuilding and getting back to that perennial power that they were for decades when this rivalry was heightened and at the top of the sport. And you can feel like they've both taken steps forward.
Starving for championships. Hopkins 2007, the last time they hoisted the trophy. Syracuse 2009. These teams haven't been to championship weekend. Syracuse since 2013. Hopkins since 2015. The fans want more.
And they both came into this season with expectations that this was the year to get back to championship weekend and competing at the highest level of the sport. And Syracuse, a sloppy start to this second quarter. Johns Hopkins has dominated possession in this game.
And you're giving the Blue Jays an easy possession on a blown clear that doesn't have to happen.
Next week's ABC Hockey Saturday matinee matchup, the Devils will be in Pittsburgh taking on the Penguins, 3 Eastern on ABC. Rest of the NHL season, ABC Saturday, there will always be a hockey game on. Now, the Blue Jays have dominated the faceoff X. They've won 8 of 10 in this game, and yet tied at 4 because of how efficient Syracuse has been offensively. Syracuse got off to that hot start, 3-0 lead. Hopkins answered with 4 in under 3 minutes. Piling on the pressure here. Can they find a breakthrough? Good defense again. Well, this Orange defense has been tested at the start of the second quarter. A long possession, nearly 3 minutes with the ball for Johns Hopkins. No goal to show for it.
We're all tied up, but we haven't really seen the Syracuse offense get into a rhythm. Hopkins has all the touches and players getting into the groove in terms of this matchup, but there hasn't been any consistency on this side of the field for Syracuse with the offensive players and the identity, getting the ball through X and Joey Spallina, having the matchups with your midfielders attacking the short sticks.
And you're without Finn Thompson for the first time, so how is this offense going to find a rhythm in his absence?
Well, you have Trey Deer in there, who's a lefty. Finn Thompson was a righty, so you're switching the inside presence from a righty in Thompson and a lefty in Deer. So you got to flip the field a little bit. The positive for Syracuse is there's a connection between Joey Spallina and Trey Deer. They play all summer in Canada together. They're teammates. They understand each other's tendencies.
Deer took a laser there.
But Deer's behind the cage. He's at his best when he's above the cage. Having him behind the cage on that possession isn't playing to his strengths. He needs to be inside as a crease finisher.
Offsides against Hopkins, kills the momentum there, gives the ball right back to Syracuse. Michael Leo saying, slow things down to his first line midfield mate, Luke Roa. If nothing else, gives your defense an opportunity to breathe for the first time today.
You talk about breathing, 15 in white will log miles. Sam English plays offense, defense, man down.
Stout's out of his cage. Hustles back. Here's English. Good ball movement. Poetry in motion, everything but the finish. Stout makes the save on Spallina.
That's a big stop by 15 in black, who's struggled a little bit lately. Under 50% his last 3 contests. Settling in now in the Dome.
Yeah, just his second save for the Syracuse area native. We were talking with Gary Gay. We said, when your offense is at its best, what does it look like? That last possession certainly looked like it just didn't have the goal to cash in for it. Ball movement, passing, good shots, not individual efforts where the ball sticks in one stick.
Well, the stick skills are so elite for Syracuse. So the ball movement, as you're mentioning, but it's also prying the defense and getting them to overcommit as you go heavy to one side, because they have the ability for those through passes, and that happens from the overload and the kind of toying with the defense.
Shot clock ticks down to 10. Hopkins has been very patient with the ball. Can they find a breakthrough? Bauer lost it. Chavette from distance, and that's a shot clock violation.
The Jamison Kester were talking about the Syracuse offense in their ball movement and their stick skills. I'm forcing them to be Dodgers. Who on this offense demands a slide? And until someone establishes that, I am slow to go if I'm Hopkins in defense. I'm challenging Syracuse to say, who on this team can initiate, break a defender down that warrants a slide? Because if I slide too early, I'm playing into their strengths of ball movement.
Bouncer, and it goes! Syracuse back in front. Tyler Cortez, the second-line midfielder, cashes in. First goal of this second quarter for either team.
You want to talk about making the most of an opportunity. Wyatt Hoddle does a tremendous job of dodging down the alley, getting the defense to shift towards him, and then the throwback. But Cortez is in here because Trey Deer moves from midfield to attack to replace Finn Thompson. Jackson Burtwhistle, his replacement, Wyatt Hoddle. So the combination of those two players on that play shows you the depth of Syracuse. And Cortez, who's a senior, he's paid his dues. He played a little bit as a freshman, sophomore and junior year, hardly any playing time. Stayed the course, didn't flinch.
First goal of the season. He's got 2 assists today as well. He has been phenomenal in this first half. Taking the most of that opportunity with Finn Thompson out of the lineup. You have to shuffle your midfield lines when you move Trey Deer up to attack, and boy, Tyler Cortez making the most of it. Syracuse wins the faceoff, looking to add to this 1-goal cushion. Leo stings the corner, but didn't find the back of the net.
He hammered that one. Absolutely hammered that shot.
That is an inch away from being perfectly placed.
And he beat Stout to that spot. Stout's a lefty. He shot it right at that top left corner.
Roa with some high heat. Deer has the backup for the Orange. Roa on the restart. Curls around, that rings off the pipe, so the Q says 2 pipes on this possession.
That's Roa showing you how two-handed he is, going up that left side, a natural righty. You watch him shoot, you have no clue what his strong hand is.
Spallina against Scott Smith, loses the handle, and the Blue Jays emerge with it.
Hopkins is playing Spallina well. You saw Patrick Hackler, the short stick, take the ball away from him. This time, Scott Smith. You can't muscle 18 in black. He's going to win that matchup.
So Hopkins, all 4 of their goals came in a 3-minute span. Since that rally, they have not scored in more than 12 minutes. Chuck Rawson, 51 in black. One of those goals passes it off.
This defense, John O'Derna, the defensive coordinator, I think it's much improved from a season ago. This is his second year at the helm, running the defense. You have Michael Grace, comes in from RIT, the All-American. I think he solidifies the inside defensively for Syracuse. It's a unit that has some shorties and Carter Rice.
Eric Chick. Beautiful pass right on the doorstep. Quick stick finish. Stuart Phillips cashes in, and Hopkins the immediate answer to tie.
These youngsters kind of pushing the envelope, but it all started with Gary Gate, the behind the backs, and the way that he altered his stick. He was so creative with the way he strung it. Just a massive impact. This game is intense. They're playing for something, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, we just showed you the 1989 championship, but they're playing like there's a championship on the line this afternoon. Very physical. The intensity from the first faceoff, you felt it. Johns Hopkins with a flag down, so a free possession here.
Got the crowd.
Yeah, this is an
got
awesome
the teams.
atmosphere.
Got some matchups. The big boy matchup is at the top of the box between Billy Dwan and Matt Collison. Collison with the ball right now. This is what you want to see. Two monsters going at it.
Collison, one of the 5 Blue Jay goal scorers. Every goal has been scored by a different player for Hopkins. Let's get the penalty here as Hopkins goes back on the man up.
Fouls on White, 26. Push with possession, 30-second push 26.
Chuck Kaczynski, first-year starter at long stick midfield. That could have been a push without possession. Johnny Mullen looks like he took one, and then Kaczynski just goes a little extreme.
Hopkins 1 for 2 on the extra man this afternoon.
So watch 16 and 91 from the outside. Something has to give.
Collison lets it rip.
You got to respect Collison from deep. The issue is if you send too much help and you overcompensate him, you're staring at 91. They're both on the left side. This is why it's problematic for any team to deal with 16 and 91 on the same wing.
Behind the back to Chauvet. Back to even strength. Still 20 seconds to work with on the shot clock.
He's going here. He's got a short stick, he's going. You got to slide early if you're Syracuse and show.
Shot clock ticks under 10. Collison righty. McCool read it well. Ball's loose though. McCool on his knees, begging for the ball. Wins it back. Feels like Johns Hopkins is dominated in terms of possession. You know, the settled possessions like this for Syracuse have been few and far between.
I think McCool's been good. Defensively, they've created some low-angle shots. He's got 7 saves.
Hopkins has won 9 out of 12 face-offs.
That's a lazy turnover. That's one that will drive offensive coordinator Pat Martz nuts. Just a basic exchange from the wing to behind, and Scott Smith picks it off. You talk about a guy with a motor. Multiple games this season, he's clocked more than 6 miles in the game. Scott Smith is a beast.
So what's the average for a player in his position?
At his position as a defender?
Right.
Around 4.
Yeah.
But he's
trying to
used
put that
on
in
wings.
perspective.
He's put on wings. He's heavy in the ride. They'll bring him up on the ride as like a free safety. He's everywhere. Against Towson, close to 7 miles in the game.
Incredible. And he's been terrific today, largely going against Joey Spallina. The one goal Spallina has was just a chaotic scoop and score unsettled.
If Syracuse wants to go to Spallina in the one-on-one matchup, they're going to have to send a pick right now because Scott Smith has played lockdown defense.
Coming up at halftime, another brilliant edition of The Cross. Our very own Paul Carcaterra working with Charlotte North. Now, you're mentioning how Gary Gait changed the game on the men's side back in the late 1980s. I think that's happening right now with Charlotte North.
Fact. I mean, the mass appeal that she has within the women's lacrosse community and the respect that she has within the men's lacrosse community as a whole. She's pushing the sport stylistically. And what that does, it fuels dreams for young kids.
Exactly.
You have great players every single year, but the ones that change a sport forever are the ones that have a style to them that every kid in the country that plays that sport, in this case lacrosse, can go in his or her backyard and dream.
And I think you look at the inaugural WLL that Charlotte and the Boston Guard just won. sold-out crowds. The little girls lined up for 2 hours after the games. They're going home to the backyard and doing exactly what Paul Carcaterra was doing in 8th grade after watching Gary Gait beat Johns Hopkins in 1989.
And I have a daughter who's in 9th grade and grew up watching Charlotte at Boston College when she won a national title in 2021 and broke all the records, over 100 goals in the season. So it's real.
Final 3 minutes of this first half, and it has been close throughout, but that should be expected. 7 of the last 13 meetings between these two teams in the Dome have been decided by just a single goal. Hopkins, they're used to playing in one-goal games. Their last 3 games have been decided by a goal, including the win last week against Virginia. Hunter Chavette had 5 goals in that game. Passing here, though, wasn't ready for it, and McCool's out of his cage. Here comes Jimmy McCool showing off the speed. Don't often see the goalie make it to the 40-yard line here on the Ernie Davis Legends Field. Johns Hopkins, another empty possession, only 1 goal in nearly 18 minutes.
I'd like to see a little bit more of Charlie Eiler dodging. You saw him score the first goal for Johns Hopkins. Showed me a lot on tape last week against Virginia. 29's got some shake. Give him a run.
Michael Leo closed off. They go right back to him. Hopkins has been brilliant defensively, and Gary Gait uses a timeout. And the Blue Jays right now just so difficult to break down, so well drilled. You take away the first 5 minutes of this game where Syracuse scores those 3 goals.
Settled defense. Jamison Kester's gang has been terrific. It's the unsettled. And I think that they understand the matchup. And I mentioned this earlier. They're daring Syracuse to win one-on-one matchups. And that's not Syracuse's strength. Syracuse's strength is moving the ball at hyperspeed and getting teams to overcommit and dodging off of poor approaches, not taking a defender out on an island and breaking them down. Jamison Kester understands the assignment.
Well, it has been a wild start to the season, Paul Carcaterra. Maryland has emerged as the #1 team, but we had 2 of the top 3 go down. Notre Dame loses again, and then Cornell upset by Penn State.
And then Fairfield, to me, is one of the great stories in college lacrosse. Andrew Baxter, the head coach there, was an assistant at Yale when they won it all in 2018. He was the mastermind behind that defense. He took his lumps early in his career as a head coach. And right now they are firing on all cylinders. You talk about a team that understands their identity. They are playing fast, they're making saves, they're winning faceoffs. They are a huge story in the early stages of this season.
On the women's side, it does see that Boston College and North Carolina have separated from the pack, kind of in a tier of their own. #1 and #2, they play on April 5th. Northwestern's Madison Taylor has filled in brilliantly for Izzy Skane.
It's just March, 39 goals.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. She had 8 on Friday against Marquette. Madison Taylor, she's a lefty. She loves getting to the rack. And now she has the Monster X on her back. Like last year, she put up video game type numbers, but she's playing with Izzy Skane and Erin Koikenol. Now the attention is on her, and she's still delivering even more.
Each team in this game, just 1 goal apiece in this second quarter. The scoring has slowed down. The defense has emerged as the story. What can Syracuse do out of the timeout? Shot clock under 10. And Orange has to hurry here. No angle for Spallina, who sends it over.
You see the body pressure being applied by Scott Smith. He is taking it personal. Like Spallina likes to get on the island a lot of times. You'll see the behind the back from that spot. Scott Smith is not allowing him to get above goal line extended. He's looking at it as a fist fight, and he's going to get physical on Spallina. He wants to play the body. So if I'm Syracuse and I want the Spallina matchup, I'm sending a pick to free him up.
Barry Gate elects to use his second and final timeout of this first half. Gives us an opportunity to remind you the ACC men's basketball tournament begins Tuesday afternoon in Charlotte. All 3 games on ACC Network. Pre-game coverage tips off with nothing but net at 1:30 Eastern. Nothing like Champ Week. Tickets being punched. March Madness is here. Did the Syracuse, Virginia men's basketball game last night. The Orange will take on Florida State 7 o'clock in that first round of the ACC tournament.
You're here forever. You got the hoops, you got 2 lacrosse. You're gonna be paying taxes in New York.
Yeah, might just move down to Armory Square for the weekend.
There's a look at Jamison Kessler. He's fired up. He's got to be thrilled with this unit right now. They are clicking on all cylinders, and they're doing it. They're holding Syracuse to 5 goals, and it's not like their goalie, Luke Stout, is standing on his head. He's got 2 saves. What does that tell you about this unit? They're forcing poor angled shots. They're playing physical.
Yeah, the defense has been brilliant. Speaking with Kessler right before the game down on the sideline, he said he used to come every Saturday to the Dome. Grew up in this area, section 128. A lot of good memories, a lot of nostalgia, and now trying to beat him.
He was a feisty player, won a national championship or 2 at Hopkins, actually 2, 2005, 2007, faced off, played some man down. He brings some energy and juice with him. I mean, this guy's got Red Bull in his veins.
Kilrain on the clear. He can let it fly, passes it off. Beautiful goal out of the timeout. You can't do it any better. And it's Charlie Eiler who fires the Blue Jays in front.
A lot like Billy Dwan for Syracuse, Quentin Kilrain, as a defender, will initiate offense because of his stick skills, his awareness, and his ability to see a play develop. I was asking for more Charlie Eiler because Charlie Eiler, to me, is a complete player. His first goal, he dodges left-handed and scores with little angle as an initiator. This time, he sneaks behind his defender and finishes right-handed. And I told you earlier in this broadcast, when I'm watching him in his old tape of high school, the greatest compliment I have for him is I don't know what hand he is.
Yeah, you've been calling for Eiler, and he has delivered. Second goal today, big face-off win for John Mullen, who has struggled from the dot today. Before that face-off, Syracuse had just won 3 of 12. Can the Orange equalize at 6 before the break? We've been tied at 3, 4, and 5. Back and forth we go in this awesome rivalry game. Deflected, never got to the goal. And the Blue Jays defense delivers again. Do you push here? 15 seconds to work with. Or do you go into the locker room satisfied?
Always push. Just showed you could hit in transition earlier.
Collison dangerous from deep. Never got the hands free. And Johns Hopkins heads into the locker room with a 1-goal. And getting the better of John Mullen in that first half, though. Mullen answers. Shot out of a cannon. Finds Hiltz. Too much on that one. Sam English been quiet. 15 in white, playing against his little brother Brooks. Neither of the English boys have gotten going in terms of scoring today. Hiltz off the screen, hits the pipe. That is the 3rd pipe the Orange has hit in this game.
There's the pick game. So if you're struggling to win one-on-one matchups, where do you get the separation? It's not just the pick game, it's timing the pick game. Right on goal line extended, knowing that when Hiltz comes off that pick, he's a step away from a shot. You need to see more of that incorporated for the offense of Syracuse.
Curling around, Roa misfires. Good look there. Here's Michael Leo. Working against the short stick.
We're going early to him.
Roa goes lefty, deflected. Hopkins not afraid to put the body on the line. They have been soaking the ball.
Right now, it's evident. The one player who's demanding an early slide is 7 in white for Syracuse when Hopkins is on defense. Everyone else, they're slow to go.
This is very eerily similar to Syracuse's loss to Harvard a couple of weeks ago. They got out to that 5-0 lead. The offense was rolling, and then they really slowed down in that game. Today, Syracuse shot out of a cannon, 3-0 lead. The offense is rolling, only 2 goals since. And the Hopkins defense has dominated. And they've done it without the goalie having to make saves. Only 2 saves for Luke Stout. Here's Brooks English. Bauer trying to weave his way in. McCool kept it out. Bauer didn't get really a good look at it. Ball's loose. And the flag comes out. The physicality, which has been there since the first faceoff, continues in this third quarter.
It's going to be a push with possession for 30 seconds for Hopkins. Riley Figueres with that grounder in the corner. I think 11 in white is playing at a high level.
Fouls on black 7. Black 7 pushes with possession. 30 seconds. Reset it to 80.
It's the right call there. Figueres with the nice takeaway check. Then he gets the grounder. Him scooping that ground ball and staying with it allows it to be a penalty rather than just a possession change. It's a push with possession for 30. There's Figueres. A lot of times he'll get the assignment at the top attackman for the opposing team depending on the matchup. If it's a bigger guy, it's Dwan. If it's a smaller, quicker guy, the Owen Duffys of the world from UNC, it's Figueres.
Syracuse trying to cash in on the extra man. Referee goes down, trying to make the call. Closest to the ball, Syracuse. It'll stay Orange's way.
The unit checking in over 50%. Gary Gate, the head coach, runs this unit. As I mentioned, 2 new players with the injuries to Burt Whistle and Thompson.
Roa shakes free, finds Hiltz. Leo, way too much on that. Off the mark.
No backup. Hopkins closer to the ball when it goes out of bounds. They win the run out, they get the possession.
And it's another empty possession for Syracuse, that time unable to cash in on the extra man. It is Syracuse offense that was very much hyped up coming into the season, and the offense really hasn't been the problem. In the loss to Harvard, they scored 14. Kilrain put it right on the doorstep. Chauvette's usually money from there.
He's something in transition, 6 in black. I mean, he's got the wheels. He understands the progression of transition offense.
And we got a terrific Sunday night matchup tonight, 8 Eastern. Cavs and Bucks. Cavs best team in the East right now, taking on Giannis. Coverage begins with NBA Countdown at 7. Chauvette trying to spin his way free, locked up by Dwan. Battle for the ground ball, won by the Syracuse goalie, Jimmy McCool. So Paul, Syracuse just 2 goals in the last 28 minutes. How do they change that here?
I think they need to mix up the matchups. I like Wyatt Hoddle in the second quarter, dodging using his speed. 19 in white. Michael Leo is a threat, but Hoddle's a burner, one of the faster players on the field. He's got the ball right now. If he has a short stick matchup, I give him the green light, and then when I'm dodging from the attack, I'm sending picks on the goal line extended. So after the pick and the separation from the pick, you're shot ready. Hiltz had it the last possession, didn't can it, but the opportunity shows that it's there.
.88 in white. Peyton Anderson, the young freshman. Flag flies. It looks like Syracuse is going on the extra man. Let's get the call.
Black 4-0, interference, 30 seconds. Black 4-0, interference, third. Reset 6.
So Syracuse goes man up, but they're 0 for 2 on man up opportunities today so far.
Look at 40. Yeah, they blow it dead because the offensive player's in the crease. I like the PLL rule better. The PLL lets it continue because that's an advantage for a defense. An offense should not have to stop on a penalty.
Here's Luke Roa, already midway through this man up. Here's Hiltz. Quick passing finds Leo. Stout. Great save.
That's his best of the day. The local boy shutting it down, staring down, and Owen Hiltz step down where we've seen multiple releases out of 77. That's a big save by Luke Stout.
And Hopkins gets back to even strength. The Orange now 0 for 3 on man-up opportunities, but still with the ball. Here's Sam English out of the box. He's got speed, has a step. Michael Leo trying to muscle his way in to no avail. This Hopkins defense has been so impressive since those early 3 goals they surrendered. Only 2 goals in the last half hour. Roa weaves in and finds the back of the net. Unconventional, but it counts all the same. Luke Roa ties it at 6.
I gotta see this, Jay, because I have no clue how 8 and white Luke Roa sticks this one. It looks like he's dead to rights with the slide. Gets the initial move. That's insane. How in the world does Luke Roa, after the face dodge there, hold on to the ball? He's not only dealing with defensive pressure.
Scott Smith is flying
the
at
stick hits the turf, too. That is a sick goal by the junior midfielder from the state of Maryland, Luke Roa.
And Syracuse has won 5 of the last 7 faceoffs after losing 6 of the first 7. And we are tied for the 4th straight time. Mullen wins it to himself, head of steam. Tried to get the Hiltz, as it bounces. Deer denied on the doorstep. Crease violation anyway.
Johnny Mullins from Syracuse, winning faceoffs, getting into a groove. It's what he's doing after the faceoff where he needs to improve. It's find daylight and get the ball to the offense. We've seen multiple times Mullen wins the faceoff and throws the ball away.
Would you like him to slow things down there?
He's an athlete. He's a great lacrosse player. He's a two-handed player. Win the faceoff, fight for space, get the outlet pass to your offensive player and attack and get the ball behind and run the offense.
We have been tied at 3, 4, 5, and 6. Back and forth we go between the 2 lacrosse original heavyweights. When you think about the rich tradition of this sport, Hopkins and Syracuse, the most trophies in their cabinet. Been playing since 1921, and another exciting, thrilling chapter being written in this second half. Midway through the 3rd quarter. Bauer trying to shake free. Here's Charlie Eiler, 2 goals to his name today. Shot clock down to 7. What a goal! Dylan Bauer, an immediate answer, and the Blue Jays answer right back. Wow.
This rivalry has been defined by some epic high-scoring games. Today we got a defensive slugfest. But don't tell Charlie Eiler there. He's subbing in for Russell Melendez. He's got some huge moments in this game. This time it's spot feeding Dylan Bauer. Hop is up by 1. All for Johnny Mullen after a face-off win, going down and scoring, but understanding where the pressure is. And the last few times, he hasn't been able to escape the pressure because he's forcing the issue.
Syracuse wins another face-off. Sam English going against his little brother Brooks English. So good on the wings. You said the first line midfield for Syracuse would be the difference if the Orange was going to win this game. Michael Leo part of that group, English as well as Luke Roa. English wasn't ready for it, loses the handle.
That's the problem with the skill of Owen Hiltz. He throws passes to you oftentimes when you're not ready because of how deceptive he is with his release and how quick he can get those passes off. I don't think Sam English was ready for it.
Hopkins with numbers. Jimmy Ayers gives it up. Lawson running on and a foul call. It's Stuart Phillips who absorbed the contact there, and a timeout taken by Hopkins. Peter Milliman, quick trigger on that timeout with his team in transition, in jeopardy of losing the ball there.
It's one of those, you understand why he's calling the timeout, but with just 2 in a tightly contested game in the foot up, absurd numbers. So to me, 2 teams that are part of the early season story, Fairfield and Colgate.
The 7-0 Stags.
Give them their props.
We could see one of those 2 teams with all the losses move in, crack into the top 10. And I think that's good for the sport.
It's the best. And that's where the game has evolved. When we're talking about the 1989 championship game between Hopkins and Syracuse, realistically, there were 3 or 4 teams that could win it all. Now there's 12, there's 13. Who wants to play Richmond? I mean,
Nobody.
If you turn on the tape, you watch them last week against Cornell, they had them on the ropes. They're up 3.
Should have won that game.
In the 4th quarter. Nobody wants to play Dan Shamati's team. Trust me.
It just feels wide open. Maryland at the top, obviously, they've earned that with wins against Princeton and Notre Dame. Behind the back, whizzes wide.
He's
but after
playing
that
move. Scott Smith is playing that move beautifully. And what he's doing is he's getting really heavy on the top side. But he's also not losing his leverage and his balance to get beat with the behind the back and the inside part. So it's the balance of Smith, how centered he is in terms of his push and his physicality.
Good save. Luke Stout read the bouncer beautifully. Going back to that Scott Smith-Joey Spallina matchup. Spallina got that first goal of the game for Syracuse, but it was unsettled. Since then, Smith has absolutely locked him down.
And whether it's Spallina or Hiltz or Trey Deer, for them to win these matchups, now they need picks.
This is what you were just talking about.
Look at the physicality. So he engages before goal line extended to get Spallina off of his line. Once Spallina's off of his line, he needs to recalibrate, and Smith is centered.
Eiler puts the pass behind. Eric Chick chases it down. Plenty of time on the shot clock, 25 seconds. Chick, swim dodge, curling around the cage, it scores! What a goal! The sophomore Eric Chick. And it's Hopkins' first 2-goal lead of the afternoon.
Eric Chick now has made 2 phenomenal plays in this game. One in the second quarter with a dime of a pass through the defense of Syracuse. This time, they're daring him to go to the rack, and Wyatt Hoddle loses this matchup right here. Once he has that step on him, he owns goal line extended. Gets to his left hand and just hammers this with a slam dunk type shot.
We were talking about stick work with Charlotte North at halftime on the cross. Great example of that by Eric Chick.
Quick release.
8 goals from 7 different Hopkins players. Here's John Mullen. Low pass to Hiltz. That's exactly what you were just talking about, Paul. Mullen's winning the faceoff, but struggling after that. Not making the right decision after winning it.
So where does the offense come for Syracuse? Leo has demanded an early slide. To date, it's the only player that is really getting that respect.
Leo left open. Couldn't control it. He would have had a free look at Cage.
It's one of those, Jay, where you're so open, you're thinking shot and goal before you even catch the ball. He's going to want that one back.
On the run. Whizzes wide. Spallina has the backup, resets.
That's the look Sam English wants. He wants to sweep across the middle of the field, use his speed. Little stutter and go, 15 in white. He's got the ball again here.
Loses possession. Shot clock ticks under 10. And it's Hopkins' ball. And Syracuse, another empty possession, just 1 goal in the last 21 minutes for the Orange.
And the third quarters have been their Achilles heel. And the losses to Maryland and Harvard, both games where you're winning, going into the locker room with a lead. That gets evaporated in the third quarter. Last week against Utah, not a good third quarter.
Deflection off the Chauvet rip. That might have been friendly fire. Matt Collison scratching his back.
Dwan bumps up to Collison.
Stole it away. This is Jake Spallina, the younger brother of Joey. Can the Cuse get something in transition? They've struggled in the settled sets.
We're talking about matchups. To me, Wyatt Hoddle is another player with the ball right now. From a speeds perspective, he has the ability to win a matchup.
Working against Patrick Deans, the long pole. Hiltz calling for it and gets it. Didn't get a clean look.
Jamison Kester recognizes that.
Off the restart. Syracuse gets the goal they've desperately craved.
Tyler Cordes recognizes the plan for Johns Hopkins. In the middle of that dodge, I'm mentioning Jamison Kester recognizing Wyatt Hoddle. They have the pole on Hoddle. That's where the respect is. So Cordes gets the short stick adjacent to Hoddle. So Wyatt Hoddle's ability to get the respect because of his speed of the long pole opens up Tyler Cordes and his dodging ability for his second of the day. Well, a right-handed goal.
You said, what's the matchup going to be? Tyler Cordes, 2 goals, 2 assists.
But sometimes it's the next layer of the matchup. Wyatt Hoddle's the matchup there. But Jamison Kester is playing some chess with the offense. Okay, Hoddle's the guy, he's a speed guy, we're gonna put the pole on him. So then Cordes gets the short stick. And credit Cordes with 2 massive goals. The lefty rip and then the righty, because the scout on Cordes, heavy lefty, he opens up that right hand.
How about John Mullen? He's turned it around at the faceoff deck. 6 straight faceoff wins. A chance to tie it at 8. Back and forth we go. In a rivalry with such rich tradition. Leo attacks and scores! Michael Leo! What an individual effort to tie it at 8.
Jay, there's no margin for error on this shot. He has no angle. I thought Michael Leo would do his patented 3-quarter shot to increase the angle. He goes direct overhand here. He's got the little swim underneath and the slide's too late. I think Johns Hopkins feels like they're in a good position, closing the gate on Leo. Lack of angle, but the shooting accuracy, 7 and white reigns supreme.
And Mullen, another face-off win. Syracuse stealing the momentum back at the end of this third quarter. 2 goals in 36 seconds. And there's another! Sam English buries it and fires the orange in front.
That woke the crowd up. The dome is now popping. I mentioned in the open when I highlighted the 3 midfielders, Sam English is the unicorn of the bunch because what he does in transition. Wings on face-off, defense to offense. And that's Joey Spallina. That is a hidden ball trick.
Wow, they fooled me.
Are you kidding me? Sam English, the entire time, everybody is looking, including you, including me, and it's an empty netter from Spallina.
They fooled.
That is sick.
They fooled the 10,000 of the dome. They fooled you and me. If somebody saw it at home, good for you. Wow.
Joel Tinney did it to me in 2018, I believe. Hopkins, Navy. This time, look at the hidden ball trick. Everyone thinks Sam English has it. I'm pointing to the board to you. 15, English. Empty netter by Spallina. That is sick. Wow.
And it was English who was celebrating, too.
Exactly. He sold it through the goal.
Incredible. I think Luke Stout's still wondering where it came from. 3-0 Orange run in 51 seconds after just 1 goal in 21 and a half minutes, and the flag's flying. What a run for the Orange at the end of this third quarter to get 3 goals in less than a minute after such a long drought. 1 goal in more than 20. Let's get the call.
Johnny Mullen with the push. The art of tracking the hidden ball. Last night, Princeton against Rutgers, they had a little hidden ball magic, but not at this level. This, like I said, was Joel Tinney type. Johns Hopkins against Navy. Quint Kessenek and I were on the call. Quint swears that he always knows where the ball is. Quint would have been fooled on that one.
He's going to be texting us right now. How did you guys not see it? The Orange with all the momentum. Billy Dwan, another takeaway.
English now officially has the ball. 15 and white has the ball.
And he's sitting on it to get back to even strength here. A deep breath from English.
The best part of that, Jay, and you mentioned it, he did the celebrating.
Yeah. Swim dodge, Hiltz. Fakes the pass. Now gives it for Deere, who tried to jump up. That's it over and back to end this third quarter. Well, third quarters have been the kryptonite for Syracuse, and it looked like that was going to happen again, but then 3 goals in 51 seconds. Start of the fourth quarter. Rivalry living up to the hype once again. Hopkins and Cuse. This is the goal that separates it. But Joey Spallina, hidden ball trick. It fooled me, it fooled you, it fooled everybody. Cameraman follows English. You see the ball flying in. Luke Stout, the goalie's looking right at English, and then English celebrates like he put it in the back of the net.
And from this angle, press box to the far side, we're looking at the backs of the player on the flip. It was tremendous. The way that they sold it, and like I said, through the end. A lot of times on a hidden ball, you'll bail on it early. English knew the assignment to go through the end.
And John Mellon has taken over at the faceoff X. Trey Deere. Stout keeps it out.
That's a tough stop. Stout's got 5, but he's made a couple critical ones here in the second half.
And Syracuse has won 11 of the last 14 faceoffs. That's changed the game.
Well, look in the early stages of the first quarter. Johnny Mullen was getting owned.
Lost the first 6.
Yeah. But like I said, he went back to his foundation, to his system, looking at the iPads, talking to coaches, and making the adjustment.
Bauer trying to shake free, sends it to Collison. Matt Collison, what a goal! Ties it at 9.
To win this game, you're going to have to answer the bell, Luke Stout. And he does. Trey Deer staring it down, left side goal line extended, low to low. Stout makes the stop, and what a tremendous pass and anticipation by Dylan Bauer and Matt Collison. I love how Collison comes to the ball and in one motion shoots. A lot of times players will come to the ball, they'll catch, and then have to figure out where they are in front of the crease and stare down a goalie. He does that all in one motion. It's move to the ball, catch, and score.
And an injury for the Syracuse defense.
That looks like big Michael Grace, the RIT transfer. He's been a huge addition to this defense. He's got international experience playing on the senior Canadian national team.
Good to see him pop up, get looked at by the Syracuse training staff. Next week's ABC Hockey Saturday matinee matchup. Every Saturday on ABC, you can catch the NHL. And next Saturday, it's the Devils in Pittsburgh to take on the Penguins at 3 Eastern.
This is a big loss if Grace can't come back in this game because he owns the inside. He protects that paint. He's such a good communicator and tremendous stick skills as well in the clearing game. And what this does is it takes away some depth from Syracuse's long stick middies, because now you have to bump down Nick Kakemo, who's your long stick middie. So now it's Chuck Kaczynski and Dylan Seguider, who's been a little bit banged up. You're thin there right now.
We are tied for the 6th time today. 4 lead changes in a heavyweight clash. The original heavyweights in the sport delivering another dandy. And this, I think, favors Johns Hopkins because, Paul, they are used to playing in these 1-goal games. 4 of their 6 games decided by a single goal. Their last 3 games all decided by 1 goal. In Syracuse, they've only played in 1, that Harvard game, which they lost.
They're heavyweight tested, the Blue Jays. Toughest schedule in the land. They know how to win tight games. They're battle tested. There's Kakemo. He's defending Chavette. Kakemo on close defense isn't the concern. It's now taking the depth away from long stick midi where he's been playing.
Collison feeds inside. Phillips misfires. He got a good look at it. Charlie Eiler, the backup for the Blue Jays, under 30 seconds on the shot clock. Here's Brooks English. Eiler has the Cuse hung up behind the cage at X. Good defense. Figueres knocked it down, and the Orange defense delivers. They do it without Michael Green. He's still getting checked down on the Syracuse sideline. This is everything you'd hope to be and more. This rivalry, such rich tradition, 2 programs that have rebuilt to where they feel they can compete for national championships again, get back to a championship weekend where their fan bases want to be. Leo passes out of the double team, bounces it to Hiltz, back pedals. Syracuse very patient on this possession. Here's Sam English. Spins into a double team, passes it off. Roa got to look at Cage.
That's stick work. You want to talk about stick work, the ability for English to get that pass off. And Roa, with all that pressure, to get the shot off.
Leo bottled up in a double team, trying to get it to Hiltz, which he does. Leo gets back to his feet and scores! No, into the side netting. They blared the horn, the fans are cheering. No, that was the side netting. We're still tied at 9.
Looks like Hopkins, the last couple possessions, settling in. Dylan Bauer making his presence felt. 7 in black. I also think Charlie Eiler is an option here.
Jimmy Ayers lets it fly. Billy Dwan all over it, trying to run it down. Dwan, can he dig it out? No, Hopkins stays on possession. Hunter Chauvet, for his standards, 91 in black, has been quiet in the second half.
He has, and he showed last week against Virginia the ability to get to the rack and create his own shot.
Only 1 goal today, came in the first half, right on the doorstep. Crease violation, Syracuse ball.
Getting back to Chauvet, does he test Kakemo, who's now playing close defense after being a long stick midi the entire season? Looks like Syracuse has been going to a heavy dose of Michael Leo, doing double shifts. Right now, his helmet's off. So Cortez with the 2 goals has been an option attacking short sticks, but Wyatt Hoddle
has the ball here.
He can initiate with speed.
Hiltz rings the pipe. 4 pipes in this game for Syracuse.
If you look at the shooters, whether it's Chauvet for Hopkins or Hiltz for Syracuse, the ability to get a shot off in the same motion as the catch is spectacular.
Hiltz passes it up this time, gets it back, and now feeds Spallina. Joey Spallina curling around, Scott Smith all over him. Spallina trying to shovel it home through contact.
I think Scott Smith's been more successful with this matchup when he engages before goal line extended. Be the bully before Spallina can get settled.
Here's Hoddle, trying to feed it right on the inside. Deere couldn't connect.
That is, from a level of difficulty standpoint, the pass Hoddle tries there with his offhand through the defense, not going to work.
Trey Deere doesn't give up on the play, though. That is an excellent stick check to force the ground ball. Trey Deere doing it all. Tied at 9 with under 9 to play. McCool, the goalie, way out of his cage. A successful clear.
You feel the tension. 2 programs, storied history, the most in the sport. The national titles. Are they back? Everyone says that. Quarterfinal losers a year ago. The next step, championship weekend.
Right on cue, Hiltz delivers on the doorstep. And Syracuse is back in front. And that's a hat trick for Owen Hiltz, the crafty Canadian.
He's so good at identifying where the seams are, whether it's the through passes or if he's the recipient, and this time from a beautiful spot feed from Joey Spallina. Lacrosse IQ, Owen Hiltz has his PhD. If you talk to Pat Marks, that's the smartest player on the team. One of the smartest guys he's ever coached. because he knows how to play with the ball and without it. And it's timing the cut. If he cuts too early, he loses his angle, Jay. He times it perfectly, and Spallina recognizes that with a quick pass.
John Mullen not at the face-off X for Syracuse, and Hopkins wins. That snaps a huge face-off streak for the Orange. But the Blue Jays feels like they haven't had the ball in this second half. Syracuse has sat on it, been a lot more patient than they were in the first half, and now Hopkins trailing by one, trying to claw this game back to even. Dylan Bauer trying to separate, finds Collison. Matt Collison, dangerous from deep. Doesn't pull the trigger, passes off. McCool recovers in cage. Hopkins ties it at 10. Charlie Eiler. A hat trick for Eiler. Starting in place of Russell Melendez, and the sophomore from California has delivered.
He's got game. When Melendez comes back, you're gonna have to find a spot for Charlie Eiler. He's too smooth, he's too crafty. We got a dandy in the dome. It's
by a single goal.
Pete Milliman knows. When we talked to him, kind of laughed and made a joke. Said, Pete, when I saw your schedule, I see your schedule every year. I'm like, oh, you could go 0-13, you could go 11-2. Battle tested for moments like this, to respond on the road. That's why you play all the heavyweights when you're Johns Hopkins.
Milliman told us his team has played with great composure. They're gonna need it here. This time the Blue Jays didn't fall for the hidden ball trick. Syracuse scored on that with Joey Spallina earlier this half. Now everyone's gonna be watching for it.
Huge expectations for this Syracuse team heading into the season. Preseason number 2, they got the 2 losses.
And they're back in front. Rear back and fire, Luke Roa. Plenty of pace on that, and Syracuse noses in front, 11-10.
They've got the 2 losses, so their backs are against the wall, searching for the first top 20 win, let alone a top 10 win. You do it with the ball movement and the stick skills. This is sick for a righty lacrosse player to shoot the ball this smooth left-handed. Underhand, feet set. When you're a righty, Jay, shooting on the run lefty, that can become natural. When your feet are set to shoot with your offhand, with that type of velocity, that type of stroke, Luke Roa, well known as one of the elite midfield shooters in all of college lacrosse.
And Mullen wins another faceoff. After losing the first 6, Syracuse starting to dominate at the dot.
And Hopkins defensively, earlier in this game, they were playing the perimeter a little bit more, enforcing the dodge. This time they were sloughed in a lot for that Roa shot.
Hiltz on the run, lets it rip, and scores! Owen Hiltz, his 4th of the afternoon, puts the Orange up by 2. And count it plus the foul, because there's flags down after the goal.
That is a huge foul on Wishar. 20 in black hitting Holtz late after the shot. Hiltz has a little pep in his step compared to years past. He looks quicker, he looks faster, and he gets to the middle of the field. And then the late hit after the goal. 2 goals in 30 for the team in white. If Owen Hiltz gets to the middle of the field and stares down the 6x6, it's turn and rake for opposing goalies.
Now the officials have taken a long, long time to discuss this. Let's get the call.
Two fouls on play. First one is black 20. He was late, unnecessary roughness. That's 1 minute. Second foul, white 91, unnecessary roughness, 1 minute. It's going to be black ball. Black ball.
This is a perfect reminder for all lacrosse players. Why would you ever retaliate? What does that accomplish if you're Trey Deer? You get the penalty. This is after the play. Syracuse doesn't even have to face off. It's after the goal, and then Trey Deer comes in with a little shove. Does that warrant a minute?
I don't think so.
After seeing it on the replay,
No.
I don't think so. That happens all the time. Standing up for his teammate, I get it. When they call the foul on Trey Deer, I'm thinking when we look to the video, it's going to be egregious.
It was not.
That is not the penalty. Regardless, when you retaliate, you always lose, because the two penalties, the retaliation is the last penalty, goes to the opposite team on the dead ball. Now Hopkins has the ball, and if you're Syracuse, you could have been man up without a face-off.
That's why the Deer penalty is so critical, because it gives the Blue Jays the ball instead of Syracuse getting the ball man up. It's a big call to make in a game like this. It's been so physical. Can this give Hopkins life? Trailing by 2, 6 minutes left. Hunter Chauvet, quiet in the second half. Now Brooks English finds Bauer. 5-on-5 here, plenty of space to operate. And an errant pass. Seconds remaining in the penalties before we go back to 6-on-6. If you're looking for the SoCon semifinal, that's tipping off on ESPN News. We'll get you there as soon as we finish here in the Dome.
Don't get fooled here, another hidden ball. We're 5-on-5, now we're 6-on-6, all even. Penalties are toast.
Syracuse clinging to a 2-goal advantage. Can they get this to the finish line and earn their first marquee win of the season? English goes to goal. Didn't get a good look at it.
That's what he wants, though, because he had that whole side cleared out. So he jabbed towards the middle to get underneath, just didn't have the angle.
20 seconds on the shot clock, did not reset. Curling around the cage, Roa dispossessed. Flag comes out. And Syracuse will go back on the man up. They can kill more of this clock. Milliman can't believe it over on the Hopkins sideline.
Black 26 holds, 30 seconds. Black 26
Hackler
holds.
grew up about 30 minutes from here in Skinny Atlas, New York. Graduate of Yale. Pete Milliman does not like this call. Hold 30 seconds. I think he grabbed him with his left hand. That's where the hold was. It wasn't by the stick. But Syracuse right now struggling to get into a groove on the extra man opportunities. 0 for 3 on the afternoon. As I mentioned, 2 new players. Greg Elijah Brown, he goes in for Jackson Birtwistle, who's out for the year. Finn Thompson, week to week. His replacement, Luke Roa.
Hiltz, he's had the hot stick, tried a cross-field pass, deflected. It'll stay Syracuse's way. 4 seconds left on the man up. And the Orange seems more interested in killing clock than going to goal with a man up. Back to even strength now.
Well, with the 30-second hold on Hackler, you had a lot of time on the back end with the shot clock. This is the time when you want to go. Around 15 seconds. Get that second opportunity if you missed the cage.
English to Deer, misses the cage. Got a great look at it on the inside.
That's why you go around 15. I think they're giving a reset because it hit the cage.
So a fresh 60 for Syracuse. The Orange continuing to drain this clock.
And you have a red-hot Johnny Mullen. Keep that in mind. After getting dominated early in this game, he flipped the switch. Looks like Sam English might be cramping up.
Well, Syracuse has 2 timeouts if they want to get English off the field. They were working on English on the sideline earlier, going against his little brother Brooks, trying to close this game out. Would be a top 10 win for Syracuse, their first marquee win of the season, a big stamp on their resume with a gauntlet still to come. Leo buries it. You can't place it any better than that. And it's a hat trick for Michael Leo. That goal, the biggest of the bunch with under 3 to play.
This is all the man with the cramps, Sam English, guts it out. And he starts the offense, and he gets Hopkins to commit and show. And then on a backside, because of all the pressure being tilted to English on the right wing, where's the opening? It's Michael Leo, camped out, untouched. This time, he recognizes he's got to catch the ball first. In the third quarter, he wanted to shoot before he caught the ball. This time, he makes that adjustment. Catch the ball. Nothing's more valuable than the rock.
This game was tied at 10, and then Syracuse has scored 3 goals in under 4 minutes. They have separated down the stretch. Callahan desperate to win a faceoff. Mullen battling for it. Now this is going to be Blue Jays ball with their backs against the wall. Can they find a way? Down 3 with under 3 to play. Who do you play through here, Paul?
You got to go Collison. He's had multiple game winners in his career. 16 in black. He's your big boy. He's your Dodger. Regardless of who's defending him. And he's got a dandy on him in Billy Dwan. You ask your big players to make the plays. My second option is Charlie Eiler.
Collison, they get it to him. Good stop.
Charlie Eiler has started 1 game in his career. It's today. I've seen enough from him that he can make plays in big spots. He's got the quickness, he's two-handed.
Collison curls around. He's definitely hunting right now. 9 saves for Jimmy McCool. He has stood tall.
The other thing in play where you might want to test, Chavette's being defended by Kakemo.
Bauer got a step. McCool to the rescue. Whistles have blown this play dead. There's a flag down.
This is going to be on Syracuse. It's going to be a push, 30 seconds. And I was mentioning Chavette. Kakemo's a really good player, but he's been playing LSM the whole year. Now he's behind the cage. That could be a test.
White 2-6. Coach. Sorry, Coach. Hey, Pat. Fouls on White 2-6. Push. 30 seconds. White 2-6. Push. 30. Reset 6.
Carter Rice applying the defensive pressure on the quickness of Dylan Bauer. What's the foul there, though? I don't see it.
I didn't see it. I don't think there is a
Bauer's
foul
on the
there.
ground already. Jasinski gets the pushing call. Bauer's on the ground already.
Hopkins just 1 for 4 on the extra man. And they need one here. 2 minutes remaining. Trailing by 3. Blue Jays backs against the wall. Collison. With room, Collison leaves it off. Chavette usually money from there and misses.
I love the pass, but not in the moment. I think Collison could have canned that shot. He had a great underneath move, a face dodge, staring at the cage. To a camped out Chavette. I think the better angle was in front with Collison.
Back to even strength. Collison lets it rip this time, and McCool read it the whole way. Jimmy McCool, 11 saves to his name.
Been over 50% in every game other than the Harvard loss. But he's responded.
Empty net. English took a shot at it, and Syracuse didn't have the backup. This has left the door cracked for Johns Hopkins.
That's a perfect example where the ball is more valuable than another goal. Look at the clock. You're at 1:13. Zap it. Zap it. The goal is meaningless. Zap the clock.
And it's not like it was a freebie either. 1 minute remaining. But Syracuse could have run this clock out instead. Ball back to Johns Hopkins, where Peter Milliman will use his final timeout. Well, in the fourth quarter, the junior goalie for Syracuse, Jimmy McCool, has been phenomenal.
The big question I had for Jimmy McCool, how would you respond after you get pulled against Harvard? Michael Ippoliti comes in, stands his ground. 11 saves on the afternoon, and he's answered the bell. Staring down Collison, Chavette, all the tremendous shooters from Johns Hopkins. Jimmy McCool, Massachusetts native, comes in with that big junior class. He's a redshirt sophomore, but that recruiting class was #1 in the nation with Jimmy McCool and Riley Figueres and Billy Dwan Jr., Michael Leo, Joey Spallina. He was the goalie in that class and waited his time behind Will Mark for moments like this to play Johns Hopkins in the Dome.
Now McCool has met the moment for Gary Gait as the Orange are 59 seconds away with a big rivalry win, and more importantly, a top 10 win to put at the top of their resume. Gauntlet of the schedule coming. They've already faced Maryland, and then look at that, Colgate at Virginia, Notre Dame at Cornell, and then not pictured there, they still got to go at Duke and Carolina.
It's a brutal stretch. We talked about Johns Hopkins' schedule. Syracuse's schedule got a lot harder if you're watching what Colgate's doing. Early in the season, no one would have recognized that game as, ooh, what's going to happen here? That will be a dogfight.
Jimmy McCool, we were just talking about him. He had 3 saves on the last possession for Johns Hopkins. He has stifled the Blue Jays offensively. They are desperate to find the back of the net. Time not on their side. They got to go quick.
That's the matchup. They got the switch. I don't know why Collison left it.
Passes up. Chavette trying to get his hands free into the side netting. And now Syracuse can kill this clock. It's a game of keep away for the next 30 seconds. Well, after losses to Maryland and Harvard, everybody in this Syracuse community knew how important this one was. With number 7 Hopkins at the Dome, awesome atmosphere throughout, and the Orange delivers. A 13-10 win, a dominant second half effort.